Good, y'all. I'm Jerry, about to check out top 10 greatest Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal moments. This video is by Wrestling Flashback. Eddie Guerrero is a legend. It's a bona fide, one of the best and greatest technical wrestlers of all time. We lost him at such a short age, at age 38, and he was still in the prime of his life in his career. I grew up watching Eddie Guerrero like when I was around like 9 years old, right before he died. 8, 9 years old when I started watching WWE, and he never seemed to amaze me when he was in the ring, when he was playing a heel or a babyface. He was always great. He's definitely a legend. He's definitely missed. His presence is missed. His influence is greater these days now because he influenced so many younger wrestlers and continues to influence so many great wrestlers in the years to come. So we about to hop into this video.
Kurt Angle had the 3 eyes. John Cena had hustle, loyalty, and respect. For Brock Lesnar, it was eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. While for Eddie Guerrero, it was all about lying, cheating, and stealing. Eddie made a career out of tricking his opponents, lying to referees, and stealing victories, as well as all sorts of other items along the way. Guerrero's behavior was quite different from that of a typical babyface, but this was all part of his charm.
If somebody like Eddie Guerrero was around today, in today's aspect, and doing all this stuff, it would be even more entertaining.
Within the industry.
There's nobody ever like him that talked like him and had that personality, and that, you know, and you knew when you lost Eddie Guerrero, then you lost a one of a kind.
Eddie's motto of lie, cheat, steal resulted in some truly epic television that many of us look back on fondly to this day.
Across the spine! Well, Eddie Guerrero, look at that, just trying to the evidence. There's a war ensued. Wow, what is going on? The smoking gun!
So for this list, we're counting down the top 10 Eddie Guerrero lying, cheating, and stealing moments. Before we kick off the list, we'll run through some honorable mentions. Eddie's signature way of deceiving the referee was by planting a weapon on his opponent, and Guerrero was up to in a match against Matt Hardy on SmackDown in 2003. After the referee grabbed the United States title belt from Hardy, Eddie's nephew Chavo ran to hit Matt with the tag team belt, and this allowed Eddie to get the win. Latino Heat loved to bend the rules any way he could to gain an advantage, and this included moving the tag rope during a match where he teamed with Booker T to face the Bashams in 2005. Even though the referee caught him, you have to love Eddie for his creativity.
I've never seen that before, I gotta say that.
It was quite fitting that Eddie won his final ever match in classic lie, cheat, and steal fashion.
Against
while
King Kennedy.
Mr. Kennedy on SmackDown,
I remember watching this episode of SmackDown.
Kennedy, while Guerrero pretended
this was the Survivor Series qualifying match.
When the referee got back to his feet, he assessed the situation.
And when I got the news, I think Monday morning, that he had died, I cannot believe it. Oh, I just seen him on SmackDown.
Number 10, stealing Kurt Angle's possessions and auctioning them off. Eddie's feud with Kurt Angle took SmackDown by storm in 2004. And even when Kurt was injured, Guerrero still found ways to torment the Olympic gold medalist. But with Kurt set to return to action by facing Eddie at SummerSlam, Latino Heat had one more trick up his sleeve to get under Angle's skin. After Kurt had been fired as SmackDown general manager, Guerrero managed to get a hold of the items Angle decorated his office with. Eddie hatched a plan to auction off each one of Kurt's possessions for charity. Kurt eventually interrupted and looked to get revenge by stealing Guerrero's lowrider. Unfortunately for Angle, Eddie had booby-trapped the car, which left Kurt humiliated. Guerrero then got Angle's music to play, as Eddie and the fans then sang along with "You Suck" chants directed at Angle. The next week, Eddie came out with some of SmackDown's divas to try and help increase the value of Angle's possessions. They each signed Angle's old leg cast, while Eddie offered to add hydraulics to Kurt's wheelchair. Eddie then mentioned that he, just like Angle, also competed in the Olympic Games. Eddie then shows us a hilarious promotional video hyping SummerSlam in which Eddie cheats to win the 100-meter sprint.
Stole my memorabilia. That was for a good cause. That was for charity.
Number 9. Cheating backfires. Next we'll look at a match where Eddie's attempt to cheat backfired. This happened when he teamed with Booker T to challenge Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam for the WWE Tag Team titles on the last SmackDown in 2004. After the referee got inadvertently taken out, a familiar smile came over Eddie's face, which is usually a precursor to him bringing a weapon into the ring. However, this time, Eddie wrestled with his conscience a bit before grabbing the tag belt and placing it onto the chest of Rey Mysterio, so that when Nick Patrick got up, it looked as though Rey had hit Eddie with the gold. Eddie tried his luck once too often though, as Patrick turned around when Eddie was talking to Mysterio. Latino Heat then tried to convince the ref he'd been hit. even getting Patrick to raise his hand, but as he did this, Rey interrupted and was eventually able to pin Guerrero, allowing Mysterio and RVD to retain the tag titles. After the match, Eddie hilariously explained to Booker T what had happened, while Mysterio laughed, having got one over on Latino Heat. Number 8, Poison's Big Show's burrito. By the fall of 2003, Eddie held both the United States and tag team titles, as his popularity was...
They had him hold that damn title for months, only to lose the Big Show in his first defense.
US Championship. After Show attacked the Guerreros backstage, Eddie planned to get his revenge. First, we would see a Mexican gentleman attempt to deliver some burritos to Eddie. However, the Big Show took a few for himself.
Put some laxatives in that shit.
That Show covered in some special sauce. Show then wrestled Orlando Jordan. However, it was clear that something was wrong with the world's largest athlete. Show was in so much trouble he had to walk out on the match to get to the nearest toilet. This meant Big Show lost via countout, but this would be the least of the Giant's worries. With Show struggling inside a bathroom stall, Eddie revealed his master plan. Latino Heat had covered the burritos with a secret sauce of his own. Both men played their roles to perfection here, with Big Show especially delivering some priceless facial expressions. And as if it couldn't get any worse for the Big Show, the next week he'd still be full of crap, but it was going to take more than toilet paper to clean up this mess.
I wonder what the hell was that.
Eddie steals the Great American Award.
Crap.
Kurt Angle out injured, and having taken up the role of SmackDown General Manager, he was asked with deciding the #1 contender for Eddie Guerrero's WWE Championship. This was to be decided via fan voting on WWE.com, where the winner would also receive the Great American Award, but despite John Cena's landslide victory, the #1 contendership and award was given to JBL. Angle then revealed the trophy, however it was clear that it had been stolen by Eddie. Guerrero then drove down to the ring using the award as a hood ornament. Eddie threatened to destroy the trophy as well as JBL's limo, while Angle demanded the trophy be given back. Guerrero did eventually break part of the trophy by snapping off one of the Eagle's wings.
That would be extremely... Oh, what the...
Eddie then proceeded to attack JBL with the trophy, as Bradshaw and Angle fled the ring. From there, Guerrero destroyed the award with a steel chair. Angle was on fire during the segment as he and JBL sold their anger over Eddie stealing and breaking the trophy tremendously. As for Eddie, well, he was his usual comedic self here. Overall, this was a great way to continue his feud with Kurt Angle, while also kickstarting the WWE Champion's feud with JBL. Number 6, stealing Ric Flair's number. Next, we have an all-time great Royal Rumble moment that took place at the 2005 event. Eddie and Ric Flair were next out to draw their numbers for the Rumble match. Flair went first and was overjoyed after finding out the number he drew. Guerrero, on the other hand, wasn't so pleased. After the Nature Boy was done celebrating, Eddie hugged him and wished Rick good luck. After Eddie left, Flair then proudly showed him his number to the Divas and general managers. They looked on in confusion, and Nate would soon find out why when he looked at his number again and came to an unfortunate realization.
Guerrero! Guerrero! Guerrero stole my number!
Later on in the show, SmackDown GM Teddy Long demanded that Eddie return the stolen number to Flair. Eddie eventually gave it back, but there was still another surprise in store for the Nature Boy.
Wallet.
Once the Royal Rumble match began, we would soon learn why Guerrero had switched out his number for Flair's, since Eddie entered the match first, while Rick was the final entrant in the coveted number 30 spot. Number 5, Eddie caught red-handed by the referee. We've got another example of Eddie being caught in the act of cheating, and it once again involves Rey Mysterio. This time it was he and Eddie that were the tag team champions, but that didn't stop the two from wrestling each other on SmackDown in early 2005. Sometime into the match, the referee accidentally ended up on the receiving end of a seated senton by Rey. The smirk on Eddie's face could only mean one thing. Guerrero set out to stage the scene again, just like before, but this time he was extra careful. However, Rey managed to turn the tables by throwing the belt at Eddie while the ref, Brian Hebner, got back up.
Rey has the tag team goal, and Rey just turned the tables on Eddie. The referee's coming too. Gotta get rid of that title, Eddie.
Guerrero then had to hide the belt under his body as Hebner attempted to figure out what happened.
That's some classic stuff right there.
The title, Hebner caught him in the act as Rey laughed on in the background. Hebner saw this and then confronted Rey, threatening to disqualify both men. As Guerrero complained, he had unknowingly positioned himself for the 619, but he was able to dodge it, responding with a small package that Mysterio was able to counter into a pin of his own, and this ultimately earned Rey the win. Afterward, Rey forcibly shook Eddie's hand after Guerrero had refused to show any sportsmanship. They eventually hugged, although it was clear Eddie was upset that Mysterio had now got on the belt.
He eventually turned on his ass.
This played into Eddie's eventual heel turn on Rey that occurred a few months later. Number 4, stealing JBL's limo. Even though Eddie had his lowrider, that didn't stop him from having fun with other people's cars. JBL experienced this more than once, including the time Eddie stole Bradshaw's limo on SmackDown in 2004.
Whoa! We are going for a ride. And it's gonna be better than Disneyland, huh?
When Guerrero returned to the arena with the limo, it was clear he'd been out on one hell of a joyride. Once JBL regained consciousness, he crawled out of the backseat, and it was only then that he realized just how much damage Eddie had caused. This drove Bradshaw to tears while Guerrero looked on, grinning from ear to ear to close out an incredibly funny segment.
It looks like you got a hangover, ese! Orale, viva mi raza!
Number 3, Eddie's whipful thinking. On the November 6, 2003 episode of SmackDown, the deck was stacked against Eddie. He went up against the Basham brothers in a 2-on-1 handicap match. The Bashams also had Shaniqua in their corner, who was armed with a whip. Eddie attempted a frog splash, but as he did this, Shaniqua got on the apron and distracted the referee, Nick Patrick. While the Bashams switched places in the ring, Guerrero poked Shaniqua in the eye and managed to get a hold of the whip, which Eddie then used on both Danny Basham and Nick Patrick before planting the whip on Basham just as Nick turned around. And with Basham distracted, this allowed Eddie to swoop in with a schoolboy and pick up the victory. It was a classic moment with Eddie winning the only way he knew how. Number 2, WWE title victory. Eddie walked into the 2000
well deserved right there,
wrestling the biggest match of his career, challenging Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Despite being the heavy underdog on paper, Guerrero was the overwhelming favorite in the eyes of the crowd. He was without question one of the most popular wrestlers in the company going into the pay-per-view.
Yep.
With the referee down, Lesnar's rival Goldberg looked set to hand Eddie the win by hitting a spear on the champion, but this could only muster up a 2 count from the official, and with the ref still barely conscious, Guerrero attempted to use the WWE title belt to nail Brock, only for the champ to duck and kick Eddie in the gut before hoisting him up for the F5. But Latino Heat responded with a miraculous counter, DDTing Lesnar onto the gold, and with the capacity crowd on their feet, Eddie delivered a frog splash.
Yes,
the
sir.
referee crawled over to count the 3, making Eddie Guerrero the new WWE champion. The celebrations were spectacular, as Eddie jumped into the crowd, celebrating with the very people who had helped make all this happen through their unwavering support.
well deserved win.
It's a different kind of high tonight.
Number 1, WrestleMania moment. Eddie continued to treat fans to some fantastic television whilst WWE champion, but it couldn't have been a tougher first big title defense than against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20. Angle dissected Guerrero's ankle to the point where Eddie looked to untie his boot to relieve the pressure as he struggled in pain. Kurt went straight back to the ankle lock, but because he had hold of Guerrero's boot, the champion was able to loosen his foot out even more, allowing Eddie to escape the hold, leaving Angle with Eddie's boot in his hand as Guerrero used a small package to score the pinfall, with both his feet on the ropes for leverage.
Look at this. Small package. 1, 2, 3.
Eddie had once again found an ingenious way to win a match, and with such high stakes up for grabs on the grandest stage of them all, victory couldn't have tasted any sweeter. Although lying, cheating and stealing in real life might not be the best idea, in the world of wrestling it can breed creativity.
Great idea in the world of
hilarious
wrestling.
moments. And if you're as good as Eddie Guerrero, create one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. And that brings us to the end of this video. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a
Alright, another great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments on what y'all thought of my reaction to this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. I'm out. Peace.